Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the second quarter final of the Women's Rugby Sevens World Cup. At the moment, they're playing Bon Jovi at the ground, and about 40,000 are singing Living on a Prayer. Can Ireland be living on that momentum and get themselves to a semi-final in a World Cup for the first time ever? Looking through at their lineup, it is Parsons, Brittany Hogan, Stacey Flood, Megan Burns, also Emily Lane, Lucy Mulhull and Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe. Then for New Zealand, Niall Williams, Portia Woodman, Sarah Hirini as the captain, Porty Lane, Stacey Flula, Kelly Brazier, and also the speedster out on the wing, Michaela Blythe. So do let me know your score predictions for this match, ladies and gentlemen. The two sides just about to make their way out onto the wet Cape Town turf. Unfortunately, a little bit of rain around. And also, lovely night in Cape Town. Is it still raining, Jan Lou Brand, or are you sitting under cover, perhaps? And all seven of them are my sisters. Go, girl. Love from your brother in New Zealand, says Spider-Man. And go, Black Ferns. My girls, my team. There's Jan Lou Brand there. But New Zealand, their first match of the Sevens World Cup, they were able to win it up against Colombia, 47 points to 5. Whereas Ireland, they also were able to get themselves a victory. They were playing Brazil, but it was 24 points to 12. Brazil are a tough side on their day, though. Ireland, they'll be very happy to make their way through New Zealand. They are the defending champs of the Sevens World Cup. Right, we've got a referee in charge of this one. Now, last game, we actually did see a referee taken off for a blood bin. So because of that, anything can happen in this game. And sitting undercover says Jan Lou Brand, yeah, bit of raining at the stadium, and 22 points to New Zealand, 7-2 Ireland is the prediction from Nathan, but kicked off by New Zealand, and it's a knock-on straight away by the Irish. Stacey Flula fires it across, and the penalty goes the way of the Kiwis. Within 9 seconds, we've already seen the penalty in favour of New Zealand. Megan Burns put that one down, and then from there, it was an accidental offside. Michaela Blythe about to take this quick tap for New Zealand, sitting about 30 metres out from the line. Yet these teams met at this stage at the last Rugby Sevens World Cup. New Zealand won it 45-0, but the Irish women's side, they've come a long way in 4 years. And I do look forward to seeing what kind of challenge they can bring for New Zealand. Stacey Flula tries to step through, but she is taken down by Mulhull. Now back across Porty Lane. She sees a gap, almost able to go straight through it, but Emily Lane just manages to get that last-ditch tackle made. Sarah Hirini now across to the side. Niall Williams inside ball to Michaela Blythe with a fin. They need to stop her early. Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe, and beautifully done by the Irish number 5. But now New Zealand still on the counter-attack. Porty Lane almost going through. Another good tackle made by Ireland. They haven't missed too many as of yet in this match, although now the draw and pass, the quick hands out to Niall Williams out on the wing. Tries to go through, drives the legs. Good leg power from Williams. And she does score the first try of the match for New Zealand. Let's go. Toa Fahini. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Oh, sorry, Wahine. I don't know what my brain was doing there. I think I'm still in Argentine names mode. A nice run from Michaela Blythe initially. Then New Zealand, the quick hands from Brazier. One more pass out wide. It was Niall Williams straight through this time. 50 plus, says Spider-Man, can also try to New Zealand, says Sebastian. Although if they want 50, they'll have to keep on scoring at a very frantic rate. We are only a couple minutes in. But Ireland, they will be getting a little bit of the possession a bit later on, you would think. That kick has gone over from Porty Lane, and now New Zealand leads 7-0. Showing the number 4 on Niall Williams' back. It is currently a little bit wet there at the ground. Portia Woodman out on the wing. We haven't seen her touch the ball as of yet. When she does, we will certainly know about it, as she normally makes plenty of meters. But now Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe goes across for the Irish. Nice run forward from Megan Burns, just managing to stay on her feet. Now she's gone down to the knee. They do have to release. Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe cross to Lucy Mulhull. Not able to get through that gap. And now Murphy-Crowe goes short side. Ireland building towards the halfway line and sounding great and looking good. Hamish, thank you for the commentary, says William. Thank you very much for being here, mate. We are going to be doing all of the quarterfinal matches, apart from we have got one that we are missing, which is USA versus Canada for the women's. Other than that, we are covering every single match straight over the ball for New Zealand, but they give away the penalty. Oh, Sarah Hirini wanted to run forward with the ball. She didn't realise that it wasn't her penalty. Unless, of course, it was a time-wasting tactic, which I don't think it would have been from Hirini. I don't think she plays the rules that way, but now they are showing Ireland have never won a Rugby World Cup Sevens quarter-final. So I'd love to be able to get themselves their first ever here, and to be able to do it up against the defending champs just makes it that much more, more substantial, I guess is the word I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of a good enough word for that one. Substantial, that's not too bad. Now ball's been put in. Nice work from Mulhull, finding the inside ball for Ireland. Sarah Hirini tries to get back up to her feet, not quite able to turn it over. It's another knock on. Unfortunately, this time it was Brittany Hogan who puts the ball down. It's the pass a little bit too far out in front of her with the slippery conditions as well. It's very hard to hold on to that ball when the pass isn't right in the bread basket. Both sides, both women in the middle, Hirini and also Stacey Flood, both doing up there here, making sure that it is well and truly tight enough so that it doesn't get in the way for the scrum. Down in the front row they go. Poldy Lane about to put the ball in for New Zealand. A little bit of resistance from the Irish and great work there. I believe that was Emily Lane who jumped straight on the back now. It will be Portia Woodman, her first touch of the day. She shoves off Brittany Hogan. Now Hirini goes across to Brazier, one more. The short ball goes to Stacey Fleuler in the midfield. Another good low tackle made by Ireland. Brazier looks to the right. Hirini goes back to Brazier. Bit of a 1-2 going on between those two. And the Black Ferns Sevens, now ball available. Niall Williams always has a bit of a juggle, I was trying to say. Portia Lane now keeps this ball alive. Looking to try and get through that defensive line of Ireland that is looking very structured at the moment. Michaela Blyde, couple steps, gets through Mulhull, but is dragged down now by Megan Burns. And Portia is amazing. She certainly is. She's got tons of pace and tons of power. Now it's kicked him behind from Kelly Brazier. Bit of a different tactic here from New Zealand, but running straight back. It is going to be the number 7. That was a push off the ball. That's going to be a advantage to Ireland, surely. No, they do say play on just for now, and New Zealand win the penalty. Right, I don't necessarily agree with that. I saw an Irish player going flying from a double-handed push. She didn't even get a chance at the ball, and Michaela Blyde now up to the 22. Testing out that leg strength, doing a few lunges with an Irish woman stuck to her ankle. Now Brazier across it, a knock on from Niall Williams. Ireland going to have this one back for half a second. Looks like Brazier gets in the breakdown. They will be going back for the scrum. And also go Black Ferns, says Viniana. Also nice hit, Ireland girls, says Nathan. Yeah, Mulhull got straight onto Williams there. I have no idea why I'm sneezing tonight. I don't think I've sneezed in a good few weeks. And now for some reason, I guess it's the sevens. Maybe I get excited and sneeze. I don't think that's a thing though. Is that a thing? Surely not. But there is a thing for everything in nowadays, isn't there? So maybe. Kayla Blyde, number 6 for the Kiwis, currently scoring quite a few tries for herself throughout many competitions in the World Sevens Series. Nice run from Mulhull. Straight on the ball, though. Fleuler wins the penalty. Irish women have improved, says William. Exactly right. They are not an easy beat anymore. In fact, they are still well and truly in this match, as long as New Zealand don't score too many times in the next little while. Sarah Hirini keeps the ball alive, goes to Brazier. 10 seconds left of this first half, and New Zealand looking like they're just willing to wait a little bit longer to take that run of Brazier. The ball goes down, Ireland over it, and they win the penalty. One last chance of the first half here for Ireland. They'd be pretty happy going into halftime 7-0, that is for sure. They'd be a lot happier if they could go in on an even playing field, 7-all. Looks like they are trying to make the decision. Oh, okay. Ireland have taken the tap and kicked that ball into touch to remain 7-0 up against New Zealand. Now, I think that's one of their first real big mistakes of this match for Ireland. Of course, this could backfire if they end up winning the game, me saying this, but for me, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And to beat New Zealand, you're not going to beat them if you aren't willing to take that little bit of a risk. And that is something we're seeing from Ireland. They're not willing to take one last attacking opportunity in the half. They weren't even that far in their own half, about 40 metres out from their line. And also, we're then all 7-0 in favour of New Zealand. And Ireland, they've had hardly any of the possession. That was their opportunity to just have a run with the ball. We haven't seen Murphy Crowe in any type of space. Mulhull, Emily Lane, she's got pace. Little bit of an interesting tactic from the Irish there. I hope it doesn't come back to backfire for them if they did lose this game by less than 7. I feel like that would be a real kick in their face. Okay, get them down early. We'll get our chance to get it back. All right, said the. Oh no, that was kind of Scottish, wasn't it? All right. How do you say all right in Irish, or like kind of with an Irish accent? All right. Or no, my tongue's too involved. Unfortunately, I've turned almost South American with the way my tongue moves. And finally, says Spider Meg. But now the second half is just about to get underway. It will be Ireland kicking off, which is even more of that question of why didn't they have just one crack at the end of the first half rather than taking the ball into touch. Lucy Mulhall, we can see in the background, Australia warming up. They will be taking on the French in only about 20 minutes' time. Their game will be kicking off at 6:35 a.m. New Zealand time. We are also covering that, and also Koi Big, says William, and also back for 5 minutes. Put back great from Ireland, says Richard, and all right. Is it all right without the T? Now it's going to be possibly knocked back by New Zealand. A little bit of a mistake, but Brazier does well to clean it up on the ground. New Zealand in position now, only sitting about 15 metres out from their line. It's going to be Poldy Lane, goes back across to Michaela Blyde, but a pressure on her. Still deep inside of their own 22 here. New Zealand set a hit any plays half, goes across to Stacey Fleuler. This is where they need someone who's quick to be able to break the line, and it could be Portia Woodman. She goes up the middle. It's going to be an 85-metre sprint for Portia Woodman. She looks up at the screen to see if anyone's going to catch her, but they certainly will not. And does that make Ireland regret everything to do with that last-minute tap and put it into touch? Also, we have got there, who's this YouTuber? Looks like the Irish Santa. I mean, I'm not too sure about the Santa part, but I could take a bit of Irish in terms of me looking like an Irishman. Rugby Itch, you'll be pretty happy with, I think, never mind. I was going to say, I think Hong Kong won, but they did get defeated. Are you looking forward to Hong Kong versus Tonga tomorrow, Rugby Itch? Your homelanders, can they get over the line? Who won? New Zealand versus Argentina. New Zealand won at 12 points to 5. And Portia Woodman's try, says Nathan. And that's over now. Poldy Lane kicks that one over. Score becomes 14-0 to New Zealand, and now Ireland have to score 2 converted tries to get themselves back into the match. But all-time try scorers in a Rugby World Cup, Portia Woodman, Michaela Blyde, Hohepa's on that list, and also Faith Nathan, after this World Cup, has been able to add her name into the mix as well. It's going to smack straight into the chest of the Kiwi Sheree Kaka. First off Black, then off Ireland. I'm going to have a quick look to see if I can see a Hong Kong win today. So Hong Kong, they did beat Zimbabwe. They won 28-0, so you'll be happy with that game. And the Irish Santa is the only one who looks more like a dwarf than Santa, says Sebastian. And Ireland will win against South Africa last match tonight. Could be a case of an upset, maybe. We've seen plenty of upsets throughout this Rugby World Cup, mainly today. On the first day, we didn't really get to see too many, but now it does seem like a few more are sneaking their way in. It's going to be in the hands of Ireland. Kicking in behind, going for the foot race. Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe going to chase after it, but Michaela Blyde has got all the pace in the world and has done very nicely. Gets the fend as well. Tackled by Parsons. All Blacks all the way. Says Gaeta, it's a penalty to New Zealand. Tackler not rolling away. And now New Zealand, 4 minutes left on the clock. And what's good, my guy, says Nathan. To Rugby Itch. It looks like New Zealand are going to be taking the scrum. This will use up a little bit more time on the clock. It's New Zealand look to try and close out their spot in the World Cup semi-final. I believe New Zealand will be facing the winner of the upcoming match that has taken place between Fiji and France. So actually we could see New Zealand versus Fiji as both of the... No, that's a lie, sorry. We can't see that. I was going to say we could see New Zealand versus Fiji as both the men's and the women's, but not quite. AB's is down and out, says Spider-Mick, and also Latish, says of Nathan there. Now a nice ball on the inside. It's going to be a runaway try again for New Zealand. And it's going to be now Saley who does score the try. Ireland, now you'd have to say they're down and out of this match. And it makes me think, I'm sorry to be a broken record with it, but that moment at the end of the first half. You take that quick tap every day of the week and you try and break through and make it even at halftime. I don't care who you're playing, don't care how tired you are, you've got to keep pushing. And they didn't do so there, Ireland. And also, come on, Black Ferns, says Viniana, and yes, Hong Kong win. And then also cheering for Canada Women's, as Flo Simmons is a good friend of mine, or she already scored one try, says Rugby Itch. So they are going to be playing a little bit later on, Canada versus USA in the women's quarterfinal. That one has gone over. And also, we've got the high, says Yaka, welcome in. And also, Bledisloe Cup is heading across the ditch, says Spider Mech. And there. Now it's going to be kicked off by New Zealand. That one has not gone the 10 metres, and it bounces backwards as well. So it will be Ireland now with a quick tap. 2.5 minutes left. They need to make sure that they score right now. It doesn't even look like anyone is on the halfway line waiting for this one. Okay, they're making the subs. 13 missed tackles by Ireland compared to the one of New Zealand. That has certainly been a costly factor in this contest as well. New Zealand have had 18 carries. Ireland have had 11. Line breaks 4-0 for the Kiwis as well. Now Lucy Mahal with 2 minutes 15 left on the clock. Ireland want to get themselves one try in this match, like we mentioned the last time these two sides met in a quarterfinal of a World Cup. New Zealand were able to win it 45-0. They won't do that today, but it would be great to see Ireland get themselves a singular try at least. Murphy Crow gets forced backwards. Sarah Hiddeney putting pressure on in the breakdown. Now stepping around once again, that is going to be the number 12, Emily Lane, around the side. Amy Lee Murphy Crow keeping her head straight down. I feel like she looks quite similar to Joanna Njacek, if anyone knows who that is. For Amy Lee Murphy Crow has just given away the penalty for not releasing Springboks versus Argentina 27-16, as Nathan Dethieri still playing for Hong Kong. He was injured at the moment, Rugby Itch, and not sure, but he may be available, says a Rugby Itch. Because that reminds me, they're actually going to be playing in their World Cup games coming up relatively soon. The World Cup qualifiers up against Tonga. Also in there, who else have they got? They've got Kenya and the USA. No, sorry, Hong Kong missed out, didn't they? It's going to be Portugal involved in that one as well. I feel bad for Hong Kong. No, I think about it. Every time I praise them, I realise that they lost a game that then took them out of like the running of something. I apologise, Rugby Itch. Now back across, Sarah Hiddeney goes to Brazier. Nice inside ball, bit of a drop ball from Saeli, and another opportunity for Ireland here. And also we got their box to win with a bonus point, says Lawrence. The prediction for that one. So I guess what's your prediction for the upcoming game, Lawrence, between South Africa and Ireland a bit later on? Ireland don't have the bones. All Blacks have, says Richard, and Hamish says, no, welcome in, mate. I hope you are doing very well. New Zealand are on an 11-game Rugby World Cup winning streak, winning the last two championships. That's actually the same stat as they showed for the men's. So both sides going head-to-head. One of them will be winning the Rugby World Cup, perhaps. Could the other do the same, or will both of them miss out? We will have to wait and see. Mulhull now running forward, 18 seconds left, sells the dummy, Hirini. Able to shut her down, though, getting straight in that breakdown. The counter-ruck, Brazier has got it now for New Zealand, and it's going to be now down the wing, Sheree Kaka. She will be scoring, and that will make the score 26-0 for New Zealand, with a kick to come as well. It should be relatively easy enough, and that's going to be New Zealand making their way through to the semi-final now, and she's gone. Says Nathan, she was indeed. Sheree Kaka doing nicely. So the next game that is taking place, it will be at 6:30 a.m. and that, 6:35 a.m. and that is going to be the matchup between France and Australia. That's going to be a good game of rugby, and hopefully it is going to be relatively close in the process. But we will be covering that one as our next fixture. Then after that, we've got a couple Fiji and derbies taking place. Fiji versus France in the women's. Fiji versus Samoa in the men. I think Ireland's defence was good against England, but South Africa should take it. Says Lawrence, and France the win, says Richard, and Ireland have the speed, but Box have the stamina, says Spider-Me. But 28-0 in favour of New Zealand. They will move through now to the semi-final. Stacey Flula very happy with that one. Same with Portia Woodman, the leading try scorer in all of Women's Rugby World Cup Sevens games. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We will be back, like I mentioned, for France versus Australia and a few of the other quarterfinal matches coming up. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.